Okay, I've got a special documentary for you today, or tonight, depending on where you are in the world. The title of the documentary is The Curious Case of Pastor Daniel, KJV Bible believer. Nobody sees you. Nobody hears you. It's a wrap. Okay, so that's the pastor pictured on screen. Right, I've been living in this guy's head rent-free for a couple of years now. Can't keep my name out of his mouth. And he's about to find out, well, I'm one of the last people you want to go out of your way to piss off on this platform. All right, so basically what I've done is I've just gone and examined a bunch of his videos, his claims, and I've compiled it all here. So look, I've got no script, I've got no notes. You're going to see me break this character down in real time. All right, so I'll just bring this up here. Now, one of the first things that stood out for me about Dan, I'll just zoom in, was just how creepy looking he was when he finally showed his face on camera. And, you know, once again, it's a case of someone who's constantly making fun of the way others look, but when you shine the light on this character who likes to sit in the dark, you see that, you know, he's not much different than the people he claims to be against. Just take a look at this.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the video tonight. I'm glad to have each and every.
Now I'll just go back. Just get another quick look at those eyes.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the video tonight. I'm glad to have each and every one of you.
All right, creepy stuff. All right, I'll just zoom back out. I'll try and keep this documentary short and straight to the point. All right, so first up, I'll just click here. I'll show you some of the headlines that he posts, or some of the titles that he puts in his videos. As you can see, he states, collapse coming, grid down. Right here he claims there's no food. There's another one. Another one. So what he's claiming here is that a tsunami is going to hit New York. All right, absolute nonsense. Now, they did print what they were going to do in advance on the US currency in relation to 9/11. They've done it again here, but it's not going to happen. They're not going to be able to get away with it again. It's out in the open now. He's got this one here. Grid down coming. Christ is King. Your cash money is over soon. You have nothing. God is going to take everyone and everything from all and seal you into darkness. So that's a pattern I've noticed with these supposed Christians here on YouTube. They seem to have a big problem with anyone that's got money, but I suspect that if you were to hand them, 7 figures, 8 figures, I'm sure they wouldn't want to part with it. Just give it away to the needy and the unfortunate. And look, you can't be dirty on people that have got money, all right, because you don't know what they've gone through to get that money. You don't know how hard they've worked. Now, you could say, oh, well, they've inherited their money, they've done nothing. Yeah, that doesn't matter, because once again, you don't know what their parents went through to get that money. You don't know how many hours they worked, how much time they sacrificed without being able to see their family, spend time with their family in order to work to get that money. Another one here. All right, so you get the general gist there in terms of he's just a fearmonger. Another one up on YouTube. All right, I took this screenshot here from his community tab. So basically what he did for about 2 years was tell everyone that the orange juice was going to cause a mass zombie outbreak and all sorts of other nonsense. All right, I'll just show you an example. I'm going to come with receipts for everything I show here tonight.
They flip that switch, and you realize everybody around you took the mark of the beast.
Yeah, so as you can see, that's what he's been pushing. And look, that never came to fruition, and it's not going to come to fruition. All right, now I'm going to break down some things that he's prophesized. Now, before I do that, just give me a sec. I know Dan likes his Bible verses, so I'm just going to get mine. Okay, it's my 100-year-old Old Testament Bible. Now, there's a verse in here, I think it's Deuteronomy. What is it? Let me think. Deuteronomy 18:20. I think about yeah, okay, so I'm just going to read this. So this is about those who claim to speak for God and prophesize in his name, and what would happen to them when that prophecy didn't come true. I'll just zoom in. Okay, it says, but the prophet which shall speak a word presumptuously in my name, which I have not commanded him to speak, or that shall speak in the name of other gods, that same prophet shall die. And if thou say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord hath not spoken? When a prophet speaketh in the name of the Lord, if the thing follow not, nor come to pass, that is the thing which the Lord hath not spoken. The prophet hath spoken it presumptuously. Thou shalt not be afraid of him. All right, let's get into this video. Zoom out. All right, we're going to click on this video here.
So this is the fake TV news people. This is how they create an illusion. Summerfest ceased to exist this year. The biggest outdoor festival on the planet, music festival, the whole thing. And they're creating an illusion. So there's no people here. A few actors sprinkled in, concert going, no people there. A couple sprinkled in there. But they'll show it to you like there's a big concert going on. But then what they were showing, the reason
Okay, I'll just pause it here briefly. So what he's showing you is just some footage he's pulled off the television, and once again he leaves out some key points. So obviously the footage that he's showing, as you'll see when I press play and continue his video, is early on in the day. Like, I don't know if Dan's ever been to a music festival. I mean, I doubt it, judging by what he's had to say here. But so early on, obviously, they're not going to put any big headline bands on straight up. They're going to be later on. So they'll have a lot of the smaller bands, maybe some local bands, and people will start coming in early and they'll stake out their seats.
putting them out there, Fox News, because they're whack. No people here, right? But yet they're going to zoom in on this line. I don't know, about 100 people here. See this line back here of people? And you can see the media people cameras set up here, and they're here. And they're going to yell action. And they're going to go live and try to show you like there's lines of people waiting to get in here. But in real life, there's no people.
All right, so let's see if his claim rings true. So I've got this footage here from the same festival, from the same year. All right, now I'll just go through this until we get a shot of the crowd, because there's a huge crowd here. All right, look at that. Absolutely packed. So once you really examine what he has to say, You can see just how dishonest he really is. All right, let's see what this one here says. All right, he claims fake media won't tell you France, Israel collapse. Now, I took all these screenshots today. All right, so he claims this 2 months ago. He says, game over. Everything from everyone. All right, now, has France or Israel collapsed? We're in May, almost in June. The answer to that quite simply is no. Neither France or Israel has collapsed. So this is in Paris just a couple of weeks ago. Doesn't look to me like France has collapsed. Okay, now Israel.
Coming up on Jerusalem Dateline, Israelis gather by the thousands to celebrate the reunification of Jerusalem. And the government spending package hits the final stage necessary for its approval. And President Isaac Herzog and his brother reflect on the role their father played during the Six Days.
Doesn't look to me like Israel has collapsed. All right, let's click on this one. This one here states Japan's government resigns in its entirety. And Dan writes, they're hiding in bunkers. They think they can hide from the wrath of God. All right, so once again, this can be easily disproven. All right, now, just trying to think, why did they resign? I think it had something to do with the Unification Church and the spillover from the Abe assassination. And look, you can easily Google a list of who the members of the Japanese government that resigned were. You can then Google image search public appearances that they've made since then. All right, but look, he doesn't, I don't think he thinks that anyone's going to really look into the propaganda that he's pushing. That's why he should have kept my name out of his mouth. Because I will. All right, let's see what this one here. All right, UN Army to arrest all US military at their homes. He states, disguised as immigrants, UN found them all guilty of crimes against humanity. All right, if you're a member of the US military and you're watching this video, did you get arrested? I don't think you did. All right, UN, China, army, all around you already. Grid down. Then wait till Satan and fallen angels show up. So what he's been pushing for quite a while now is that the immigrants coming in across the border into America are an undercover UN army. All right, now I'll give you something to think about. There's some well-trained militias all throughout America. Not only that, but there's ex-service personnel that are trained, the special forces, with the IDF. They've served all over the world. Now, you get 100 of those blokes, well-trained, and stick them in the middle of a city where you've supposedly got an undercover UN army, and 10,000 of these immigrants wouldn't stand a chance. All right, so why he's spreading that, I don't know. Look, I can understand why people native to a country are worried about immigrants coming across the border. All right, I understand that. It's not something I'm going to get in and talk about. All right, it's not what I do. Other people discuss those topics. I mean, you've got to sort of try and strike a balance in a way, because you got to remember, like, I come from some pretty disadvantaged backgrounds, a lot of these people, and when I say you've got to try and strike a balance, well, I mean, obviously you don't want to let too many of them in where they're going to take jobs and be responsible for lower wages amongst those native to that area. All right, but you've also got to try and have a little bit of compassion for these people and understand that their circumstances are different to yours, and maybe if you were in their shoes, you'd be trying to get across that border too. All right, now, what's this one?
The United Nations Army has been strategically placed all around you. Very soon they're going to exterminate all law enforcement worldwide, all military worldwide, disguised as migrants worldwide. Here's Ireland today. People have become aware these aren't just migrants.
All right, so he claims that these immigrants are going to go door to door. Look, I'll play the rest of what he says because I can remember exactly what he states here in this upload. So he states that they're going to go door to door and exterminate law enforcement and military. All right, absolute nonsense. Just remember what I said. You get 100 well-trained special forces type operatives, and you could throw 10,000 of these blokes at them, and they wouldn't stand a chance.
And they're starting to show up at the housing facilities. Also, they're placed all around you. In real life as well. Not just in America, but worldwide. And now we're going to look a little bit at Chicago today. The people of Chicago have become aware as well that these aren't just migrants. And here they are. today. The same United Nations army that you saw in Ireland, that you see in London, that you see in France, is being deployed across Chicago now, and the residents have become aware of that. And they attempt to block it.
Look, we'll move on. Like I said, absolute nonsense coming from him. All right, so these are some of the migrants here. He states satanic props all around you. Oh. He's got another photo there of them. And he's got this here. So this is his reason for stating that these blokes are satanic props. Because he's got a shirt that says 16664. Do you reckon this guy even knows or has even thought about that before he's put that shirt on? All right, if he's an immigrant coming across the border, I doubt he's going to be decked out in Gucci or Louis Vuitton or anything like that. I think they'll just make do with whatever they've got on hand at the time. All right, we'll have a look at this one now.
The world that you knew is coming to an end. This is China today, all the way through. China has collapsed.
Another outright lie. Okay, he states that China has collapsed. China is basically now the world superpower. Maybe not militarily, but economically. It's, I'll give you something else to think about too. So he states that Israel has collapsed, China has collapsed, and various other countries that are involved in a massive infrastructure project as I speak. All right, the Belt and Road Initiative. So if they've collapsed, like he states, how are they undertaking one of the biggest architectural feats of this century? All right, have a think about that. Right now. So this is the post that he made. Every citizen, China, camps, freeways collapsed. What did I have listed on this video? 4 minutes 14.
See all this? We'll go back. There's way more. A little bit here. These bots are as close as they can get to replicating humans. You have the bots. You have the devil dude chicks. These things. See the eyebrow way over the bubble? See all this? What are they? I want to go back and show you this illusion they're doing here, though. They're trying to scare you, but it's all CGI. See it? The eyebrows way over the bubble.
Yep.
I'll show you a human female as well. We're just gonna go back and show you some of this subliminal stuff in here. Told to you by these things. See it? See the CGI? See it all? All CGI.
All right, so he's going to tell you that that's all CGI. Now, once again, you can jump on YouTube and you can watch these military parades live yourself. Okay, it's not CGI like he claims. I had a Chinese national years ago on YouTube sending me some links during the pandemic that I could check out. Start like actual, well, I guess, Chinese sites. And it was just one of those, you researching a topic, you might upload a few videos about it, and you occasionally get a commenter that'll, that you've never seen before. They'll leave you some really interesting breadcrumbs to help with your research, and then as quick as they come, they disappear, and you never see them again. I know for a fact that these are military parades. They're not CGI. You can watch them.
An illusion. Rumors of wars. BC, welcome as well. Glad to have you. Rolly, welcome as well. All CGI. Told to you by imposters. We'll go back. There's way more CGI in here. See all this? All the CGI here.
You can just watch that.
Nobody.
I don't know which parade exactly this is because he always covers up the actual titles. Whenever he's watching a YouTube video, I don't know. This one's on YouTube. I think he might just be recording this one off his television. But once you go in and check these military parades out for yourself, you can see that they're clearly not CGI.
In China, if you look, nobody's out. This is all CGI, and it goes on for more of it. You can see all the satanic stuff. See all the illusion. So this here would be real street. There's nothing in the street. And then behind that goes into like just complete CGI. See it all? None of this is real. Most of the people aren't. The people
Lies.
Stuff aren't real. The illusion they're put, just like North Korea. If you go back and look at my videos.
Oh yeah, there's it's another one that he told. I was trying to find that earlier and clip it, but so what he was saying was that North Korea does not exist at all. Completely fake. What do you reckon he'd sound like to someone who lives on the Korean Peninsula? Absolutely nuts. Okay, so in relation to...
In the heart of Beijing, these crowds are waiting to get into the Forbidden City. Once the home of Chinese emperors, now a popular spot for family visits.
Okay, does that look like a country that has collapsed? Of course not. All right, Nibiru, I already know what this one is. So, for years, this is another one that he pushed. Nibiru, Planet X. He was putting the titles in his videos. Does not exist. This is what all the shills were pushing for years. Now, I suspect he may have done it to reach more people in the search results, but I know that he also brought right into the Nibiru psyop because he mentions it in multiple videos. All right, so I'll just bring this up. It's more on here. Nung Nung has uploaded a video, which we're going to watch here in a moment. And Pastor Daniels wrote, "Not real. Well done, Nung." So what they did, before I press play, I'll just explain quickly. So Pastor Daniel and a few of his cohorts, groupies, whatever you want to call them, when the war first started between Russia and Ukraine, they just come out saying it was fake, completely fake. All right, now we know the world leaders are fake. We know they play multiple roles. We know that they are put up as the figurehead, the public figurehead of multiple nations. All right, in some instances. But the war itself is real. There's real fighting going on in the Ukraine. All right, so look, I think what they thought was going to happen, some of these supposed truthers here on YouTube, was the war was going to be over quickly. A week or two, and they could start spreading their propaganda. And it is dangerous propaganda too, because I want you to think about this. All right, you've got someone sitting at home, they're young, they're impressionable, they don't really look into things too much, and they take a lot of what they've been told on face value. All right, so they watch a Pastor Daniel video or a Nung Nung video, and they're there telling them that the war's completely fake. All right, that person's sitting at the dinner table later that night, later that week with their family. The news is on in the background. War comes on the TV, on the radio. And, the individual that's been following Nung Nung, or Pastor Daniel, says to their family, look, the war's fake. All right, what do you think the reaction's going to be? Well, they're going to think he's nuts. I don't know if some of these content creators think about the consequences that some of their actions have on others. And even if they did, I doubt whether they'd care at all.
Again, in the last few minutes, we're getting the sounds of what we think are missiles right behind me, lighting up the night sky. As we've been saying throughout the program, the suggestion is that Russian forces are within 20 kilometers of the center of Kyiv. I mean, America says.
So if there's missiles going off right behind them, and there's military 20 kilometers away, What's he doing standing there? Not worried, not a jot. Absolute propaganda. What is it, fireworks that are lighting up the night sky? Missiles. What rubbish.
All right, obviously never been in a war zone. That's Pastor Daniels, right-hand man, Nung Nung. Speaking absolute nonsense. All right, she made this video at the beginning of the war. And then you've got Dan here saying, not real, well done, Nung. All right, so I'll just click on this because this one here is where he was pushing food shortages.
This is the subliminal aspect of what they want you to think. But this is how they tell you stuff. Don't panic. Empty shelves in South Dakota are normal during winter. Empty store shelves are greeting Atlanta shoppers. That's what you should focus on, the empty Sydney, Australia shoppers are seeing empty supermarket shelves.
All right, so pushing food shortages. Now, my problem with this is when you get a whole bunch of these so-called truthers pushing food shortages, and once it's a narrative that's widely accepted, okay, the retailers can jack the prices up. Now, the prices would have went up regardless, but the consumer has already subconsciously accepted that there's food shortages and that they're going to have to pay more. Okay, now, here in Tasmania, there was no food shortages at all. The shelves were packed for the entirety of the pandemic. Now, I witnessed the shelves being emptied myself. So when I was out shopping and I've seen all these people just pouring into the supermarket, and I'm like, you're kidding me there. We're going into lockdown. I thought I'd better run in and grab a loaf of bread and some milk. So anyway, I got into Woolworths, and there was just nothing on the shelves except the most expensive brands of things. So I think I paid $5 something for a loaf of bread instead of what I normally pay, which is just $2. And I don't even think I got any milk. I think it was all sold out. But anyway, went back into the supermarket a couple of days later, completely stocked. All right, now, there were times when you couldn't get certain goods to be expected due to the supply chain problems. But, this narrative that they were pushing that, you're all going to starve and, just absolute nonsense.
Get the excuse. New Orleans. Woolworth CEO. Empty shelves. And it keeps going. United Kingdom. You are in the last days of the illusion before this place collapses. They're never going to tell you anything.
So you're pushing that collapse narrative. Right, he claimed the banks were going to collapse. He claimed the grid was going down. The banks will run into problems at times. They always have. They always will. Right, there's not going to be a worldwide financial collapse now. A transitional phase, just the same as with the power grid. Right, it's not going down. It's in transition. Right, you can mark my words on that.
So coming this fall and this winter, there won't be any food left. Don't blame it on a lack of truck drivers. But you know the deal. It's September 2nd. September 2nd, 2021.
All right, if you're watching this upload and you went hungry for a prolonged period of time where you couldn't get any food anywhere, leave a comment below. All right, because I doubt very much that anyone will honestly be able to say they went without food for a couple of weeks and near starved. All right, this comment here. So this is what I mean earlier when I stated that I don't think these content creators that spread some of these narratives think about the potential harm that it can do to others. And I also don't think they care because, look, I'm going to read this out here. Someone stated, I searched empty shells when you mentioned it on your live stream. You're right. Tons of excuses and many different excuses too, as if just by accident a bunch of random causes led to this, along with the predictable, don't panic, this is normal. Why are they even mentioning it then and making excuses? And Dan's response was, everyone is deceived days away from collapsing. Right, so he's telling this person here that the world is days away from collapsing. Right, now, if someone was to believe that, I mean, I'm not going to get into it, but just think about what they could potentially do if they think that they've only got a couple of days left on this earth. All right, in terms of activities that they may involve themselves in that could have long-lasting adverse health effects, not only to themselves but others, just as one example, and there's many more. All right, a couple of days after he stated this, say a week after he stated this, a couple of weeks after he stated that to this subscriber of his that the world's only days away from collapsing, do you think he even thought to make a video addressing this comment and saying, look, I apologise, I was wrong? Of course he never. Of course he never. And, you know, until he's watched what I've said here, I doubt it would have even crossed his mind. I really do. Okay, this one. Titled, Massive Invasion Fleet All Around You. You better wake up. So I did a video on this a while back. So before I press play, long story short, he claims that Hasatan has amassed a fleet of shipping containers off the US coast that he was going to use to invade America with. Now, have a think about how ridiculous that is. All right, if you yourself are a US Coast Guard or you know someone who is, show them that video and gauge their reaction. Right, I imagine they'd probably break out in laughter. Right, America knows exactly what's going on off their coasts. Don't worry about that.
Well, the American people sleep. Satan has been amassing his massive New World Order invasion fleet, disguised as shipping delays with no real good reason. Sold by the props in the news. Delays ahead of the holidays. What they are is amassing a massive fleet. New World Order drones brought to you by Satan. This place you exist in will cease to exist the way you know it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you even say to that? What do you even say to that? Just absolute nonsense coming out of his mouth. You're seeing a pattern here. Okay, so this one here. We're going to watch what he has to say about this fighter.
Fake TV news people that have a 0% approval rating that nobody watches. More fear tactics, though. But the people that own the media can't fix potholes. So I'm going to show you how their fake propaganda scare tactics work. In honor of the gang stalkers that follow me around. None of these weapons are usable. They're all props.
All right, so he claims that none of those weapons are usable just by looking at the image. I don't know if he's thought about customization.
Crusty wood and duct tape. See all the duct tape? You see they took like a pistol here, and then they just added all this crap to it to make it look so scary. Synthetic android. But I wanted to show you, what are those? One giant Andre the Giant foot, one tiny little kid foot.
All right, absolute nonsense coming out of his mouth. So he's going to say one giant foot, one small foot. Now, I'll just now try this yourself at home, because all that's happened here, it's about the camera angle that's been used. So as you can see, he's got 1 foot forward, 1 foot back, and the one that's back sort of tucked in underneath him more, which makes that foot look smaller than that foot. All right, but what he's going to tell you is that CGI. You really got to examine what you're being told on here sometimes, especially with characters that have a track record being dishonest. All right, so I've got this folder here titled There, Your. And the reason I've done that is because I noticed that he appears to not know the difference between THEIR and THERE. Same with your and your. All right, and the reason I bring this up, not to be a grammar Nazi, but the reason is that think about what he says about the bots and the serpents and the politicians and whoever he's got in his sights on any given day. He always says they're not too bright, dumb. Yet, have a look at this. Sold there. All right, that should be THEIR. Same here. The way that he spelt it. And this is just a couple of examples. Like if I was to go through his channel, through his comment section, without exaggeration, I would find at least 100 different examples at a bare minimum of this. Right? And so you know that if you're using your phone, sometimes due to autocorrect, it will misspell those words. All right, but after the 100th time, you've got to ask yourself, is Dan a simpleton? For me, the answer's clear. Now look how he spelt your. Instead of Youre. Have a look at that. Once again. And that's just a few examples. All right. $2:29 a.m. here in Australia. And I think that just about covers it. So I managed to get this done in about an hour. And yeah, so I mean, look, it should be obvious after watching this that Daniel is clearly a deceiver. Right, he mixes truth being that he does show some good examples of bots, serpents, and whatnot. But once he veers off that path and he starts trying to break down anything like what I've shown here, I mean, he just doesn't have the intelligence for it. He's, like I said, he's clearly a simpleton. And, with some of his congregation, now, they won't say nothing to him about this. If it was anyone else, because you'll find them all. When I say all, it's a core group of them. Now, you'll find them on certain channels bad-mouthing the way certain people look, or the way they're photographed, or just whatever, but yet, that's not creepy to them. They've got nothing to say about that.
Evil will slay the wicked.
same as they'll all jump on the bandwagon and say that someone's being dishonest. But I can just give an hour of examples. And look, this didn't take me much to put together. Like, this is one thing that I'm good at. You know, like, if I finding out like about someone, compiling it all, and just going with it and presenting it piece by piece. I've got no editing skills. I may not be the best speaker. And like I stated in the upload before, I'm not here to entertain you, but I did promise you a video packed with information. I think I've delivered that. In terms of I've shown plenty of examples of the lies and deceptions that come out of this bloke. So, Dan, I know you're mad. I know I've been living in your head rent-free for a couple of years now. But there's no coming back from what I've just shown here. I'll let you run your mouth for a year. I don't usually give people that long. I'm pretty patient with most people. So, yeah, you went a bit too far. Now, you've just been exposed for the fool that you truly are.